has chosen the storyline spread for your general monthly reading, which is a scattershot across the entire sign, telling 3, 4, or even 5 different stories for people going through different scenarios this month. The stories can be about any topic, so the floor is wide open. People say that often multiple stories do and will resonate with them, but the main goal of the storyline spread is to find that one story that is all about you. And that is what we're going to do today. Welcome into all my great Cancers. It is storyline time, your spread selected for March 2024. Now, what the intro did not tell you is that this is a very specific themed corner for your storyline. In fact, they want to talk about work corner in all of these stories. So it is a big push here for Cancers in the work corner, which applies to work, business, enterprise, area of study, collegiate courses, retirement if you're of that age, entrepreneurship for most people, the JOB, but it can also be hobbies and interests, learning new things. Whole bunch of different things there, guys. Lots ground to cover. So let's get started with your spread here today. The first, now, also, there's going to be a story in here for everybody. So if the first one or even two doesn't make sense to you, just bear with me. We're going to find your story here. And this is the connector card that I'm talking about first here in story one. This is how you determine if the story is about you. If you feel like you have just gotten some newfound freedom in the work corner, this could very well be your story, Cancer. That's what they bring in first, is this things that used to hold you down no longer do. Now you have this freedom and this mobility, and it's just a wonderful way to start describing your work situation. I like the way it looks. They talk about fast traveling change. Maybe this is something that happened recently or very, very quickly. Maybe in a way you didn't see coming. It's just like the collapse of one thing. You got to bring down the tower and demolish the old so you can build the new better. Something like that is what that makes me feel like. It's fast energy, fast changes. They could be describing what happens, or they can be describing the advice of what you should do. Quick changes apply here to Cancers in March. The next thing they show us attached to that is nurturing your work corner. So putting the effort and the energy and the love into it. Very much needed it. Just like mother a child, you want to mother your career, mother your job. It needs the energy right now, if you couldn't tell, by them making every single story, Cancer, about your job or whatever version of this work is for you. So they also want to talk about how there's going to be some chirping around you here that may not be nice. You don't want to hear it, something like that. So just remember to stick to your roots, your core characteristics, your moral high road type of thing, and don't, conform to fit in at anybody's expense or, degradation of everybody or even yourself. Okay, so just it's not worth fitting in for. That's, of course, going to be for just certain people. But the other moving parts of this story, because there's a lot of moving parts, is next my other queen that comes in here. This is a Queen of Cups. So they're talking about nurturing love corner deal here. So this relates to work, but also family. Okay, big into the family because you're trying to probably do both. And maybe that's why they say the work needs the energy, because so many of you here, if you're in one, are putting the energy into the home. The home is where your priorities lie, but you don't want to do too much of either one because you put too much into work and your family gets hit. You put too much into family and your work gets hit. So it's a double whammy. It's hard to sometimes mitigate and put your energy between two places, but that's what they're calling you to do here, is to kind of like let the family ride a little bit in March. There's something with work that needs to be addressed and taken care of. They also bring in how there's social unrest here, or social emotional health that could be benefited. You could benefit a great deal here from going out a little bit here, having a little bit of fun. Whatever version of that is for you, what that means to you directly is what they're calling for here. Maybe it means about going out with some work friends. Maybe it just means, hey, having some fun away from work, taking some time off in March, getting away. They do bring in nurture again here. This maybe should have read this earlier when I read the first queen, but my Oracle Angel card also talks about nurturing energy. And it says, as you nurture a child, you nurture your own inner child. Both activities are important for you right now. So you just got to love yourself first, and then you got to show love toward the workplace. Even though it's something you don't necessarily want to do, it makes me feel like some of you here. The last moving part we have in here is they talk about busyness. It is my Four of Swords, which usually means calm, relaxed energy. Not the case here. When it's inverted, it means the opposite of that. It's busy bee energy. So it is like doing things constantly, getting things done, using the energy of this buzz all around you to check things off, get them done. So that is a big push here in story 1. Let's get into 2, guys. Good time to remind you, too, that this is a general reading. All of my cancers here are in one place, and Spirit does a great job of hitting everybody as best they can, but nothing beats a personal private reading. Those are available on my website, scottsagent.com, all the way from small services to full service, whatever you're looking for. Got a little bit of something for everybody on there, and scottsagent.com is the place. And not just that, but my clients, my customers that keep coming back time after time, I see a difference that we're making here, and that's because we give them an extra tool called ammunition. They have that ammunition of planning and preparation, because challenges happen to everybody. Nobody goes through a year or a month without having some adversity, some challenges, or bad things happen to them. Things do occur. The difference is what you do with what happens to you and how much you can avoid getting on the right path, and that is what tarot is all about, and that's what I'll help you do with a personal private reading. Check that out, guys. Story 2. Story 2, this is about those of my cancers who are just beaten up at work. Maybe some of your bodies are beaten up if you work a physical job. Maybe you're a waitress on your feet all day, a cashier on your feet all day, doing heavy lifting if you're into labor or something like that. So this can also be being beaten up, like being put through the ringer. Maybe you got a sit-down office job, but they're working you 50, 60 hours a week. Okay, so if that's you here, that's your story. That's what they're talking about here. So beaten up in different ways, injury type of deals. You don't want to do too much to get injured. It could be Spirit's way of saying that as well. Like, you don't want to get hurt. You got to make sure that this is in balance here. This is being checked on. They're calling on you to make a decision here. They're saying that some of you have already made a decision. Maybe that's leaving the job. Maybe it's adjusting what you're doing, finding a different department, a different avenue in the same career field, maybe a different career field. So decisions being made in a big way here in story 2 because of that injury, because you know what, it's not sustainable. And a lot of you are realizing that and making those decisions. Some of you already have. If that's the case, thumb up from Spirit. For the rest of you, you know what you need to do. They talk about beloved one coming in here. Very interesting place to put it. It says in the card, I'm helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship here. I focus more on beloved one. So this is one of your more than likely loved ones, your spiritual group, your team working behind the scenes here, your guardian angels type of deal, deceased loved ones, helping you with the situation. If I've just described your situation, just know you have assistance. It's very nice to see. Story 3, guys. Story 3, our connecting card is action coming in finance. So got a lot of money moving around here. If that sounds like you, Cancer, more than likely your story is 3. Action being taken. I don't know if they're describing what is occurring or if that is the advice, but action is like a step. Financial steps. Maybe some of you are deciding to make a budget or to keep to a budget, or are moving money around, buying things, selling things. We got a lot of action going on there, and it's good. It makes me feel like good credit is happening here. That's my good credit card of the 6 of Pentacles, and it's a good give and take, good return on investment. All that stuff coming in very good. If you're trying to do any of those things, you're getting 2 thumbs up from Spirit for that. That's looking excellent. They talk about review, which made me think like budget type of vibe to it, or maybe some of you are just reviewing your work take-home money or your situation, how long you actually want to stay here. What is your 2-year plan, 3-year, 5, 10, 15-year plan? Okay, these are the kind of things you're figuring out here in 3. And you're taking the steps needed right here in March, or at least I hope you are, to get this stuff done. They talk about how this is going to affect the home. Maybe some of you are trying to save up for a home, sell the home, do something with the home, projects to the home. All that kind of stuff is coming up here. That is what your review process is about. You want to get your home environment to a very nice place, nice peaceful place for you to unwind, be to yourself for some people, a little isolation they show, but just checking off the home box in general is a big push for a lot of my great Cancers. That is what the goal is, and it's a good goal to have too, because you want to have a start to the race, you want to have a finish line, and you want to have achievements along the way that you can mark off the list to help you get to that finish line. It's like reminds me of the big races, the marathons or whatever, when you see the little cup stations, a little table with all the little mini cups of water, they just grab them. It's just a little sustenance for that next, leg of the race or whatever. So that's what it reminds me of for you here, getting that stuff done. Excellent. Now, Runestone brings in breakthrough. So March is an opportunity for Cancers to make big strides in the work corner. So I would encourage you to do whatever you're trying to do there. Gave you as much information as I can in a general reading to help get you there, and confident that you will. So just do not delay with that. The last thing they want you to pay attention to, and this I do apologize, I forgot to hit this last month for you guys. It is your extra angel oracle card that I'm doing for every sign, and I forgot everybody. I didn't just pick on you guys. I picked on everybody inadvertently by forgetting it last month. Didn't do it this month, got it here for you, and it is moon cycles. So it's going to create a perfect segue for us to talk about the moon cycles. But the biggest thing for you to take away from this, in the card it says, notice how the moon affects your energy and manifestations and capitalize upon these cycles. So they want you to use these cycles to your benefit to implement the best positive changes, not just in your work moves, but in your love moves, your health moves, your financial moves, the whole bit. Okay, pay attention to the moon cycles. We're going to go over those dates, those important dates for you next. And we have a big super new moon here in March. And it is one of the biggest for the entire year. So it is actually the best month to bring new things into your life. So you're trying to do new things with work, pay attention to that new moon. And then we're going to wrap up your reading at the end with homily, which is a little spiritual pep talk done by me. I hope you enjoy that. Okay guys, it is moon cycles forecast time. Let's talk about these lunar energies that are all around us anyways, so we can use it to our benefit, implement some positive change into your month. Well, the first thing you need to understand is whether these energies are coming in or going out. Just like the tides, the moon has control of that. In the same way, you can use it too. The first thing that hits chronologically this month is the new moon. You're going to see all the text information on your screen, any rare occurrences, as well as the date. Now, this is a target date for the new moon. It doesn't have to be done on this date, guys. I really like to bracket a few days before and a few days after to get a very powerful week where you can bring new things into your life and really manifest. If it is NEW, it's not there before, brand new, this is the best time to bring it into your life. Something new financially, maybe something new with work, new love, new health. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's new, this is the best time of the month to work on these things, really help bring it in. Adversely, the full moon, the opposite energy, the energy going out, hits on this date on your screen. And of course, the same rules apply. It doesn't have to be done on this date. We're talking about a week window, a few days on each side of it here. When this energy is very strong going out, and the energy going out is the best time to get things out of your life that don't belong there or that you don't want there, something that's got control of you or hold of you that you don't want. Maybe something like a bad habit, maybe emotional baggage, a bill that's got to go. That would be something financially, maybe something with health, maybe an eating habit that's got to go. It doesn't matter if it's got to go. The full moon is your best bet to get this change to stick. If any of this has confused you, I've put together a moon cycle cheat sheet. I do it every single month. It is free. It is on the website, guys. You can check it out very easily. It is a little graphic illustration, a tool that you can use so you can kind of see these changes moving in and moving out, so you can align things in your month to it to really get them to stick, implement some great positive changes. Now let's get into your homily. Welcome into your homily for March 2024. Today we're going to be talking about an experiment with rats. This little guy here is going to help give us an example of hope and how important it is for humans to also have hope. So this experiment we're talking about was done at, I think about 1954, at least in the 1950s, from Dr. Kurt Richter. He's a Harvard grad. He is a scientist at Johns Hopkins, and what he studied, what the experiment began with, at least, was he wanted to see how long lab rats would last, who are very strong swimmers, by the way, in a bucket of water. So how long they could tread water for until they basically could not do it anymore and passed away. And by today's standards, this would be a cruel experiment. But in the 50s, a very different world back then. And this teaches us a very important lesson. So I'm almost glad that he did this for the sake of humanity learning how important this is. So what he did was he gauged that it was about 15 minutes on average how long the lab rats would last for. And he didn't understand why that was, because rats are very strong swimmers. They can swim. They're documented in science for swimming across large lakes, rivers, all kinds of things that take longer than 15 minutes. So the results weren't matching the real world, the reality of things. And he didn't understand why. So he set out to figure out why, because he started to realize that he thought they were giving up hope. It wasn't about that they couldn't last any longer. He thought that they decided that there was just no way out, no escape, and they literally just gave up, they surrendered. and in which case was their lives. So what he did was he gauged this by testing it, by doing the same experiment, except what changed was when he observed that they were giving up hope, when they were about to just take their last breath and go under the water, he picked them up, he saved them, he brought them up, he corralled them back he warmed them back up, made sure that they're breathing again, and back to normal. I don't know how long of a process that was, if it was a few minutes or 10 minutes or an hour, I'm not sure what. But once he felt that they were good again, he put them back in that same bucket of water. Nothing else has changed. So what do you think happened? We would expect maybe they're going to last another 15 minutes because that's what they did before. Or maybe they're going to last less because they're a little tired, right, from running around before. But that was not the results, not at all. The results would blow your mind. These results were hours later, not just 15 minutes. In fact, some of these rats swam for 60 hours the second time in the bucket. The only difference is having been saved, having that little glimmer of hope that there is something to aim for here and that you can pull yourself out here. And even though the rat wasn't pulling himself out, he didn't know what was going on. But he did have hope implanted in him from being saved. And that savior mechanism gave him hope to persevere and to keep going. And this was copied over many rats. And it wasn't just one rat who's a marathon swimmer who just could go 60 hours. This was many rats who just kicked the butt of the 15-minute time window, the second go of it, by about 240 times over. So this is a glimmering beacon of hope for humanity, that this is what you can accomplish in your future by having a little bit of hope, by persevering, doing things a little bit longer than you naturally would, by knowing that things are going to change, things are going to improve, things are going to get better. So the question I propose to you is how much longer you can swim for, how much longer you can persevere for, how much harder you would work at this if you knew that you were just this close to getting out of it. If the rat can do it, you certainly can do it. So that is just the power. It's not just the power of positive thinking, because it's beyond that. It's something much more intrinsic, much more spiritual, much deeper. And that is the lesson that this rat teaches us. That's why I wanted to share this experiment with you. It's very interesting to me, very intriguing, and also very profound, because I think this is something that we can all do with proof of how positive the outcomes can be in our lives. So I hope you guys have enjoyed your homily. Hope you've enjoyed the reading as well. I hope you can implement it in March. Hope you have an excellent March. I know you will.
So I guess the fortune teller's right.